How are you getting on, folks? Look at the fact that Clonmel was called off. It was a very very much disappointment. Um, Look at plenty of rain overnight. It just spoiled our plans basically and everything else like that. Now saying that the ground is going heavy now tomorrow. There's an awful lot of these horses that would be liking heavy ground. So I suppose providing that Navan goes ahead, it's going to be a very good day of racing anyway. Like that's the way I sort of see it now for tomorrow. There's some fairly nice horses running in here. I would be fairly confident. Few big prices in here. There's no odds on shots going tomorrow, so they're all at some sort of value anyway. So look at hopefully the fact that it's the Bine Hurdle day will be able to get a few winners anyway. That's the whole the real plan about it anyway. That's what we're here for. Um, but I suppose look at moving on to tomorrow then Navan, we may as well crack on with things. The 105 is a race that's very very hot. You have the likes of Cocoa Beach. There's Espinito Bello then in for Barry Connell as well. But I'm actually going to be going with Mr. Hendricks here. For Jessica Harrington and Paddy Kennedy, currently priced in around 9 to 2. I think it's got a great sort of I wouldn't say an each way chance, but I think it's got a great overall chance when you think about it this way. Look at Cocoa Beach. It's been running fairly consistently, and it has been running some very decent races, but it's just been a little bit disappointing for my liking, and I just think a price of 5 to 4, you'd be sort of hard up going, I suppose, all in on Cocoa Beach now tomorrow. The likes of Espinito Bello looks like 2 mile 4, 2 mile 5 maybe is the best trip for him. I know. Look at he was ahead of Cocoa Beach the last day, but this is more Cocoa Beach's style. But I just think, like going back to Cocoa Beach, I just think this heavy ground might just find him out now tomorrow. Now moving on to Mr. Hendricks here now, course and distance winner in heavy ground. The strike rate around Navan alone is second to none. He's ran around Navan 4 times already, won twice, both of them in heavy ground. I honestly think this horse is a good thing now tomorrow, and I definitely think 9 to 2 is definitely, look at, he mightn't be a good thing, but he certainly will be thereabouts in the finish, and he's more than likely going to come on to do bigger and better things as well. And the fact that, look at, he is a course and distance winner in heavy ground, the ground he's going to be meeting tomorrow, it's definitely going to be playing into his cards, and it's going to be an extra ace into the hand anyway. That's the way I look at it. Moving on then to the 140. This is a very very nice handicap chase. I was always tied between Lanarige and Shamalake, and there was some parts of the day when I'd be siding with Oliver McKiernan, and there's other times I would be siding with Brian McMahon. But at the moment, I am definitely siding with Brian McMahon. He won this particular race last year with Shamalake. The record around Navan is second to none. Owen Mahan takes £7 off him tomorrow. That's definitely going to be a big boost, considering the fact that he was, I suppose, an early departure last time out. I just think overall, in terms of what capabilities Shamalake has, we know he will stay, and we know he loves heavy ground. We know he's good around Navan as well. He's like Mr. Hendricks the race beforehand. He's ridden, I think, 5 or 6 times around Navan. He's won 3 or 4. Definitely a very very high strike rate around Navan. Certainly loves an uphill finish, and in particular in heavy ground, all you need to do is go back to the race last year. Turning in, he was something like 10-15 lengths off the pace, and he just literally picked up every single step of the way going in and going up that hill. Definitely really is a pure mudlark, and in my opinion, he is the next best of the day. Now the fact that he is at an each way price, I would be suggesting an each way bet. But like I said before, don't be afraid, don't be surprised to see this horse, I suppose, throwing down a very late challenge, providing he does stay on his feet. 215 then is going to be my patron pick of the day, so I'm not going to be covering it. 247 is going to be French Dynamite here for Mouse Morris and Rachel Blackmore, currently priced in around 10 to 3. Now, look at this one here is definitely very, very interesting. It's coming up against Fury Road, who is, I suppose, a worthy favourite, but it was disappointing last time out. And going all in on 7 to 4, I just think it's a little bit tricky and it's a little bit frustrating. And I just think the fact that French Dynamite has been a fairly prolific horse in the past and proven it as well in sort of soft to heavy ground as well, in particular a few starts back. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was second or third in absolute bottomless ground. I think it was in Fairy House, but generally this horse is definitely one of the, I suppose, more likelier ones here now tomorrow. There's a few, I suppose, question marks over Fury Road's head, whether this ground is going to suit him now tomorrow or not. Look, I don't know. I think he is probably worthy favourite, and probably deserving favourite, but whether he's going to win tomorrow, I don't know. I just think that French Dynamite might have a little bit more in hand. I just think 10 to 3 is a little bit of a better value price, and that's exactly what we want. We want better price winners, and we want, I suppose, to put money in your pockets anyway. That's the way we want it. 325 then is going to be my nap of the day, and it goes here with the local boys, Gordon Elliott, with Ragnar Logbrook, paired with Jack Kennedy, currently priced in around 3 to 1, coming up against this Manila. I can't think of the second part of the name now, but it's a Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore pair, who, look, is a fairly decent horse, but it just can put in a troublesome jump, and it just can put in, I suppose, how would you say, a frustrating performance. It fell on its race course debut. It was originally a Bell Harbour point to point graduate. I can't remember who was over at that particular time, but I know since Henry de Bromhead has gotten it, like it certainly looked to be a fairly decent horse, and at a price of 5 to 4. But when you look at the form Ragnar Lodbrok brings into this race, it's the clear standout best horse in the race. I think it's 8 lengths behind Fernie Hollow on its debut run. Fernie Hollow was actually second that particular day. And then again, it was another 5 lengths behind Appreciated, who was second in the champion bumper. So you have the first and the second in the champion bumper from last year's Cheltenham Festival coming into this race. I just think that's going to be too good for him. Put in a fairly decent performance, I suppose, over hurdles on his debut, and has, I suppose, improved a little bit, and looks like today is possibly going to be his day. I don't know. I just think that 3 to 1 for a horse that is bringing serious form into the table, I just think that is too good to be true, and I just think that is going to be nibbled at now by this time tomorrow, and come 325. Come that time tomorrow, it's going to be much, much shorter, and I would be suggesting to get on board now while you can. 4 o'clock then. This one here is going to be going for the Crawford team. I was originally going to be going with Alco Rouge for the Gibneys, but Wow Sham at 14 to 1 for Stuart Crawford, and JJ Slevin here at 14 to 1 is definitely a great each way bet. It was a very, very impressive debut run. In, I suppose, the space after a break of 3 years, when it was fourth behind. Who was it fourth behind? I can't remember who it was fourth behind now, but it was fourth behind some fairly decent horses here the last day. A couple in particular, the first and second, looked to be fairly decent. But the fact that it was after coming from a 3-year layoff, 400 to 1, and it put in a fairly decent performance, I certainly think that it's well worth an each way here at 14 to 1. Look, I know it's not the 200 to 1 for an each way perspective, but I just think that, I suppose, the favourite here, Enval Piergi, is just there to be shot at, and I just think at a price of, I think it's in or around 11 to 4 for N Valpiergi, is just a little bit, I suppose, a little bit too short in my opinion, and I just think that there's more value out there at the bigger prices in the market than there is, I suppose, for the most likely favourites and the most likely ones putting form into the book. Look, at all this horse needs to do is improve in the last day, and it gets into the places. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's necessarily the toughest race in the card. Generally speaking, I just think that it's got a nice sort of an each way chance, and it should be certainly not not mucked around with. Basically, it's definitely deserving of plenty of respect. 435 then is going to be going with Dragon's Pass here for Denise Foster and Sean Flanagan, currently priced in around 10 to 1 each way. Now look at this one here. Looking looking at its breeding side of things, you would be necessarily thinking it's more of a flat pedigree. The fact that it's from or it's by Dragon Pulse, but this horse has been fairly consistent, and it was a winner over hurdles here, not last time, but it was there, I think, last year. Was a winner over hurdles. Then again, it was second to Sir Bob, who put in a very, very decent performance. We were all on him that day, boy. At a price of 14 to 1. But Dragon's Pass put in a very, very decent performance, and I was very taken back by it. The win is coming very, very soon for this lad, folks. Dragon Pulse, like I said, he's more of a flat stallion, more of a 5 furlong to a mile sprinter. You don't necessarily see too many national hunt horses coming out of him, but this boy is definitely or this girl, this Dragon's Pass. She's a mare. She's definitely a bit of an exception to the bloodline, basically. Look at if Sean Flanagan he got on with her very well the last day. I'd have no reason why he can't do it again now tomorrow. They should be thereabouts in the finish. It's as simple as that. Sir Bob was way, I suppose, unexposed and definitely had a good pull in the weights. But I just think that this Dragon's Pass, the win is coming very, very soon. It's an each way prize, whether it's going to feature, whether it won't. I definitely think it will. And I definitely think 10 to 1 is a great each way shout in terms of value for money. Finally, then the 510 is going to be another Crawford. We're hoping for a Crawford double here. Now, where or when at 11 to 4 for Stuart and Ben Crawford here, currently priced in around 11 to 4. This Ginto, I'm not totally sold on. I just think that there's a little bit more improvement in him, but it's not going to come yet. I just think that he showed a little bit of, I suppose, inexperience and a bit of narkiness, basically, is the word I'm trying to say. Just didn't look like he was liking the job the last day in Punchestown. Now, saying that, the winner of that particular race definitely looks to be very exciting, and I think it was third in Leopardstown over Christmas as well. I just think that this lad here is way too short to be getting behind this Ginto. I just think that this Now Where When third behind a Gordon Elliott looked to be fairly decent horse. And Outlaw Peter as well, I was very, very impressed with him the last day as well. I've heard plenty of good things about this Outlaw Peter, so the fact that he's gotten close enough to him, I wouldn't necessarily be I suppose putting money down for Now Where or When, but just as an interest sake, just to see how good this Outlaw Peter actually is. I just think that it's a little bit big in my opinion. And I just think that the bookies are I suppose giving this Ginto a little bit too much respect, if that makes any sense. I don't think he's shown anything to really deserve 4 to 7 on. I just think there's more value there on the bigger prices in the market, and Now Where or When definitely looks to be a very nice one at 11 to 4. But look, that's all I have for you tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be able to get our heads back in front and get plenty more winners. But just generally, thanks again for I suppose, the continued support. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you want to get behind the patron, I leave a link in the description below. I, in particular, have been absolutely flying it this week, as well as Ryan. Ryan hit 4 days in constant profit all there this week. So definitely look at we have really hit the bar, or set the ball rolling anyway, in terms of where we want to go, and what we expect. I suppose, to be picking winners, basically. Like, we're picking them fairly regular, and there isn't a day that goes by where we're not necessarily in profit. So it's definitely going the way we're wanting it anyway, for the moment anyway, and hopefully we'll be able to keep things going. It's a tenner a month. Like I said, look at it's there for you all to see. The value is definitely there. Monthly giveaways. What else is there? There's monthly giveaways, WhatsApp group, different things like that. It's definitely well worth, I suppose, considering. If you're a bit skeptical about the premium services, we're that little bit more, I suppose, leeway than anything else. Like, we don't charge a hell of a lot, and we certainly offer an awful lot in return then for your kind generosity. It's basically there just to help us fund our podcast, and hopefully we'll be able to keep things going. But with the way Patreon is going anyway, and with the support flowing in, it's definitely looking like it's going to be here for the long haul anyway. So thanks again very, very much. Like I said, please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. Every single subscriber is greatly, greatly appreciated. Basically, the way I like to say it, if I've made you money in the past, just take that second just to hit that subscribe button, and it's going to really, really help me out in the long run anyway. Look, best of luck tomorrow, and if hopefully we're on the end of a few winners. Thanks very much, and best of luck tomorrow.